Hey, one more thing before we light this thing up. You can see we got the point cover off still, and because we're going to probably be messing with the timing here once we get some heat into the bike. But just make a note that when you put that cover on, you're probably going to have to go to Harley and buy the rivet from them. It's a special encapsulated rivet. You can see this aftermarket one here. This head potentially could fall into the cam sensor area and damage it. So put that on your list if you're gonna retain the factory point cover. So, all right. So spark plugs are in. Before I put them in, turned the key on. I went ahead and turned it over till the oil light went out to verify we got oil pressure. If you were doing, say, a really wicked build, and I do it even on this build, I did it. I had it in 5th gear. I had the spark plugs out. I rolled the engine over with the tire just to make sure there's no interference anywhere. And most engine builders do it because they want to make sure they're not going to turn the key on, hit the button, and boom, 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 you know, piston's going to hit a valve, or piston to piston if it was a really big build. It's just good practice to make sure everything's cool. So oil pressure, fuel, we're good to go. You can give it a little squirt of the throttle if you want, full choke if it's cold. Take a little while, leave the choke on probably. Okay. We're not going to stink up the shop here too bad, but she lit right off, sounds good. You know, the lifters, amazingly, you know, they're pumped up because we soaked them. We kind of bled them out. That helps. You know, you don't get that clatter on startup. Our pinion gear, the cam, sounds perfect because we fitted it, you know, with the other ones. So if you're looking at S&S in the instructions, when you start that thing, they don't want you cracking that throttle right away. So it's kind of important. Basically, you're kind of doing what we did here. You're going to let some heat get into the bike. You're going to go out and vary the RPM. You're not going to redline the motorcycle. And more importantly, you're not going to lug the motorcycle. So we want to get a shout out to S&S. You know, they hooked us up with the cam and pistons. Barnett with the cables. Barnett, of course, does, you know, clutch components as well. Arnold & Ness, they got us the stage 1 backer. It's pretty slick setup. I mean, bike looks stock. Got a nice high flow air cleaner. So this kind of job, I mean, you're on this website because this is the kind of stuff you want to do. And really, you know, the pull draw to fix my hog really is, you know, you've probably got a newer motorcycle, maybe twin cam, M8, whatever, and you go to the dealership and you say, look, I need a 10K. And your jaw hits the floor because they want a lot of money for very, you know, routine maintenance, which is, I mean, if you're somewhat mechanically inclined, even if you aren't, this is kind of easy stuff to do. And that's how you get your toes wet, is you start out by doing routine maintenance on your motorcycle. And then you're like, okay, I'm comfortable with that. I can do the routine maintenance. Now I can take the tires off, I can do the brakes, maybe I can do the belt. And now you're thinking, you know what? I bought this old bar hopper and it's a rat, and it needs kind of everything, you know, and it needs the top end. Now you're kind of getting into that. You're going, okay, well, I know how to take the carburetor off. I know how to take the intake manifold off. I know how to take the exhaust off. You're working your way to the air pump. And now you know how to take the rocker box off. So you sit and watch the whole video and go, you know what? I think I can do that over the winter on my motorcycle. You know, and I think this video is going to help you look at things that potentially could be bad or could happen and foresee them and go, do I want to go down this road on my old motorcycle, or is it just going to exceed the value and I don't love this thing? So if you love it and you want to spend money on it, you know, pick the bike you want to marry. And for me, it always goes back to 96 and later carbureted Evo. That's my zone, because the wiring harness, the switch housings, the brakes, you know, stuff like that, that's my draw. And that's the bike I'm really gonna lose my butt on. But if you inherited a bike like this, or if you're like Dennis and you got a gift and your neighbor had this thing sitting in his garage forever and ever, and the price is right, yeah, snap it up, you know, so. All right, appreciate everybody tuning in, and you know, Fix My Hog, we got a ton of videos on maintenance, so check them out. Thanks again.